What do you think of the Turks invading northern Syria? They've heavily damaged the US-backed SDF. It's been the leader in anti-ISIS offense in northern Syria. Northern Syria. I think the FSA is in western Syria, right? And then northeastern Syria was the ISIS-controlled parts. So the Turkey is north of Syria, right? Like borderline or bordering. My geography is fucking horrible. Hold on, I have to look up maps. Turkey, Syria. This is not at all what I'm looking for. I have to look it up. Hold on. Oh no. Can you just give me
the dankest dungeon
with the names?
FCUKU Dice Lemming.
Damn, $10. A $10 meme. You fucking got him. Turkey. Okay, Turkey, Syria. What are the red parts? Does that mean shit's going down? The western part of Syria, I thought, had the FSA memers. Northeastern part up here is ISIS memers, and then northern parts of Iraq are supposed to be ISIS memers. Turkey is up here. The PPK. The PPK are in the southeastern parts of Turkey over here, I think, right? The government is the red parts? Okay. Oh, there's a legend in the top right. Legend. Iraq government forces. Russia, Iran, China, Hezbollah, Shiite groups from Iraq. Islamic State groups and AQIM, Al-Qaeda in Maghreb. And then green is the FSA. Oh, so the FSA is here and here. Kurds. Oh, the yellow is the Kurds. Peshmerga, the YPG, and the PKK. Did I say PPK? My bad. PKK. Oh, so this is... Oh, okay. So this yellow part here... I have trouble remembering all these. The people in Iraq... The Iraq Kurd memers are the Peshmerga, correct? Which are chill bros up here. And then the Turkish Kurdish people are the PKK, who are crazy memers right here. And then these guys over here, I think, are the YPG, which I think are chill Kurdish people, right? Okay, and then you were saying, what happened recently? Oh, that Turkey people are understandingwar.org. Who are these people? Should I believe anything I read here? The Kurdish groups don't necessarily... Oh, no. I think the Kurdish groups are almost entirely disjointed from one another, right? Am I right in that? Like, the Peshmerga has no association and function completely differently than the PKK, and the PKK has no association and doesn't work alongside the YPG at all. I don't know who the SDF is. The Syrian Democratic Forces. Oh, so these guys probably work... The SDF probably works alongside the YPG over here. SDF captured this from ISIS. People say the YPG and PKK are linked, but there is little evidence. SDF equals Arabs plus Kurdish coalition. The SDF works alongside the FSA as well as YPG. Holy fucking shit, guys. This is like some civilization to your map memeing, alright? I don't need all this shit. Turkey is unraveling America's anti-ISIS partner in northern Syria in order to position as a major power broker and plan operations to retake Raqqa City. Turkish armed forces crossed into Syria to seize the ISIS-held border town of Jarablus alongside numerous Turkish and US-backed Syrian armed opposition groups. Held by numerous Turkish... Wait. So Turkish armed forces went in and seized a town held by Turkish and US-backed Syrian armed opposition groups. So they worked against themselves. Titled Euphrates Shield as a turning point in American-Turkish relations in the war against long-standing American demands for more Turkish involvement in the anti-ISIS fight. Also aims to prevent the expansion of Kurdish control along the border. However, the US ordered the Syrian Kurdish People's Defense Forces, which is the YPG. The US ordered the YPG to withdraw to the east bank of the Euphrates. Quantum's Turkish domestic study operation. Turkey is leveraging Syrian opposition groups that trust and intentionally silencing groups that joined the Syrian YPG-led Syrian Democratic Forces, bringing U.S. and Turkish-backed opposition fact the American-backed FDS or SDF. Sorry. The Turks hate the Kurds. Well, yeah, but that's because the Kurdish people in Turkey, the PKK, are supposed to be fucking crazy, aren't they? Like terrorist attack level, like crazy fucking memers, right? Like the way that the PKK functions is fundamentally different than like, say, like the Peshmerga. But then people are saying in chat that the Peshmerga is just a puppet from Turkey. Turkey got a lot of scrutiny for not being tighter on the border and allowing ISIS to smuggle the oil to the black market. Well, yeah, but I mean, where else are you going to get your fucking oil from? Like, I think at some point in time, the estimates at the height of ISIS's reach, it was like every single person in southeast Turkey was probably getting their oil from ISIS-controlled oil fields. But you had to, right? Like, people in the area were getting paid money from ISIS to drive the shit around, right? It's not like the people driving the trucks were ISIS members. It was just people with fucking tankers and shit that were trying to make fucking money. And now that Syria's oil fields were shut down, they were getting paid by ISIS and bringing the oil to the people in Turkey and whatnot. No? That was the impression that I got, at least. Our relationship with Turkey seems so bizarre. The only reason we give a fuck about Turkey is because of their it's because we have important air bases there, right? Is that true? The only reason we care about Turkey is because Turkey lets us put air bases or airfields, airports. Is that the word I'm looking for? Destiny, don't you think it's really weird how Turkey didn't close off the border for ISIS, but they still allowed air bases in their country to be used? No. Okay, listen, let me explain this real fast, okay? There's a lot of fucking autism going around because of a lot of fucking retarded shit that fucking Trump said, because he has no fucking understanding of anything this area works. So this is the way that it worked down there. Or this is the impression that I got based on the collection of things that I read. If you have a different impression, feel free to link something very clearly stating the opposite, okay? I totally accept that I could be wrong, because this shit is convoluted as fuck, okay? But my impression was, okay, as a result of the destabilization of Iraq, the dismantling of their military and their government, and everything going on there, and then the destabilization of Syria, Assad can't control his fucking country because we're pouring money into training and arms for these different U.S.-backed groups that include the FSA and Al-Qaeda and all these other people to fuck with Assad, right? Because of how destabilized this area is, where ISIS was able to gain control of some territory. Part of this territory includes fields that have a lot of fucking oil. It's very lucrative to control. They make a lot of fucking money shipping this oil out. They have financial resources, okay, because of this. Now, the way that this works in southeast Turkey is ISIS has oil fields where they mine a fuck ton of oil, and basically it's an open offer. Hey, if you drive a fucking tanker up here, you can buy the oil from us, and then you can go and ship it to someplace in Turkey where, I don't know if they're taking refined oil out or unrefined, or you take it to Turkey and they refine it there. But basically, all the people out here that made money doing, tanker runs with fucking oil and shit are now buying from ISIS. They have to. It's the only people now, they control the fucking oil fields, right? So they drive your truck down. Maybe before you were dealing with Syria or whatever, but I guess now you deal with ISIS. You buy some shit from ISIS. You drive it back up to Turkey. Everybody in Turkey needs fucking oil because obviously the world fucking runs on fossil fuels. And that's just how you made your living, right? If ISIS controls. So this is why you run into situations where when the United States is, looking to bomb fucking oil tankers and shit running oil for ISIS, they drop like the leaflets like, hey, get the fuck out of your truck, is going to blow it the fuck up. You see shit like Trump saying like, why do we warn the terrorists that we're gonna blow the truck up? Why would we warn the truck up? We're making our boys fight with their hands behind their back. Well, the reason is because the people driving the tankers aren't fucking ISIS. They're just civilians that make money. This is how they make their money. They fucking buy and sell oil. Like, so that's how they've always made their money. So it's not that Turkey wasn't closing it, like Turkey wasn't letting like people like ISIS people come into the country and make a ton of money. It was civilians that are just involved in making money, and the oil happened to come from ISIS controlled fields is more kind of what's going on here, and why the situation is a little bit more complicated, why you don't want to just be American and just bomb the fuck out of everybody running oil, like fuck all of you guys, like kill the fucking civilians, like fuck them all, dude. Like that's, so like it's a little bit yeah, so so I don't think there's like I don't think that Turkey's like responsible for funding ISIS, even if the money in a roundabout way ends up getting there. But also, it's a little bit hypocritical for America to be so critical of where Turkey's getting its oil from when we still have major allies in people like Saudi Arabia. I mean, like, what are you gonna? I mean, how are you gonna? Oh, sorry, here it is. My geography is so fucking bad, dude. I didn't even know this section of the fucking world existed right here. Unfucking believable. Yemen. I thought Yemen was the name of a fucking Final Fantasy X spell, dude. I don't even know what this shit is. How come Lebanon isn't fucked by all of this? I don't know, because nobody gives a fuck about Lebanon. I don't know. Is it? Does it get fucked? The major problem right now is Syria is controlled by a dude called Assad. The United States fucking hates Assad, okay? And if we could depose him using any means possible...
Bro, thanks for the host. Last night was lit.
No problem.
Kappa.
We would do it, okay? Destiny knows more than someone getting security briefings. I will put my knowledge of foreign policy against Trump's any fucking day of the week, and I will fucking put any amount of money that I have up to it. Fuck off, dude. Trump is a fucking retard. First of all, if Trump is getting security briefings, it literally just started within the past month or two, so that's not talking about any of the fucking artistically fucking stupid shit that he said during any of the Republican debates. Secondly, Trump has never in all of his speaking ever said anything even remotely intelligent about foreign politics ever, okay? That's like the number one area, the only reason why I could stomach voting for Hillary, as fucking horrible as Hillary is in every conceivable way. At the very least, I know that Hillary is an uninformed fucking idiot when it comes to dealing with foreign politics, whereas Trump is literally has no fucking idea about fucking anything. Trump is an ignorant fucking retard. Fuck, I can't even... I need more words to describe how woefully uninformed is that Trump is about everything, okay? Like, yeah, no, Trump is an idiot. I'm sorry. So Syria is ran by Assad. This is like where all the conflict right now in Syria comes from, okay? This is the problem. These little fucking proxy wars, okay? Syria is ran by Assad. We fucking hate Assad. So we are backing the FSA that works alongside other groups, right? I guess the SDF and the YPG Kurds up here and segments of Al-Qaeda, ironically enough, and whatnot, right? But the FSA, the Free Syrian Army, is backed by the United States. I think we give them weapons. I know that we provide training via the CIA and shit. We prop up this group in the hopes that they'll win some kind of civil war and topple Assad because we hate Assad. However, Russia... Fuck, up here. Fuck. Russia likes Assad, okay? Putin and Assad are best friends, okay? So Russia flies all of its planes down here through Turkey. Remember when Turkey shot one of Russia's planes down because they didn't like them flying through their country? Russia flies all of their planes down here to Turkey, and then Russia will put out a news story saying like, hey, and all of you alt-right fucking retards will buy it, will eat it all up. Russia flies planes down into Syria, and Russia says, hey, we're going to go bomb ISIS, and then Russia bombs the FSA in order to fuck over the people that America are propping up to fuck over Assad. And then Turkey, I guess, has largely been uninvolved in most of this, I guess, which is why these stories are a big deal. Turkey doesn't really do anything. Turkey continues to get the same oil they got before. Now, unfortunately, it comes from ISIS-controlled oil fields, but the people that are driving it over aren't necessarily ISIS members themselves. It's just civilians that make money by driving trucks of oil around. And yeah. So, but I guess now Turkey is starting to get involved, which would be new, because I don't think Turkey has been really that involved in all of this shit before. Not entirely true. Turkey is taking this opportunity to fuck up the YPP. I don't know what that is. The PKK, you mean? So from what I've been told, and I need to go read more about this because I could be repeating propaganda because I don't know if it's actually true. The PKK is a borderline terrorist group of Kurdish people that literally terrorize parts of Turkey. Like they hold the southeast section of Turkey. That's these guys, I think. And they're like no, wait, hold on. I think that's the ISIS dudes. Which one are Turkey? Time, legend. Oh, no, this is... I think these guys here are the PKK. One reason Russia started bombing in Syria was, in my opinion, to increase the number of refugees coming into Europe to destabilize the EU. No, I don't think that makes sense. Russia's not... No. It's not that complicated. That's a little bit too crazy. I'm pretty sure that Russia just wants Assad to be doing okay, and Russia wants to support Assad because Assad and Putin are friends. It's their allies. Well, I don't know if they're like official allies, but I mean, obviously Putin has an affinity towards Assad, and Assad looks to Putin for help. So I don't think anybody... The ironic part is the negative externality of all of this, right? The negative externality of all of this is the massive flight of refugees from Syria, which is fucked right now. Syria is getting completely fucked thanks to the United States and Russia. But I don't think either side necessarily wants that. The YPG is good. I'm not talking about the YPG. I was talking about the PKK. The YPG are these people up here in the top left that work with the FSA. But the only people who think the YPG are good are the FSA and the Western world, or I guess the United States at least. The But yeah, I don't think that Russia wants Syria to be destabilized as fuck because it looks bad on Syria and because Assad's country is fucking falling apart. Also, the United States doesn't really want Syria to be destabilized because why? Because why would they want to? It fucks everything in the whole fucking Europe up. Holy shit, Italy looks like a giant fucking schlong. Does anybody notice that? I see how you could hold Turkey responsible for the black market, but they could have invaded Syria earlier and closed that border for ISIS. But Turkey doesn't want to close the border. Why would Turkey want to close their access to energy? Like, why? Because ISIS are bad guys? Nobody cares about that, dude. It's about the fucking, I don't mean it's not conspiracy theory, but we're talking businesses and money, okay? So we don't have time for little fucking who's the good guy, bad guy, fucking nobody gives a fuck about terrorist attacks, anything like that. We're talking about money, lots of fucking money, right? Energy and oil and all of that shit is big fucking money. If people cared a ton, like really cared about like terrorist attacks and shit, then the United States wouldn't be huge fucking allies with the fucking lunatics that are the fucking Saudis. We wouldn't be friends with fucking Saudi Arabia, okay? Nothing is gonna get in the way. No fucking government foreign policy. Like, how the fuck does Turkey sell that? Like, hey guys, listen up, dude. I know that all of the energy that like half the fucking country or whatever is getting from ISIS, I know that we kind of need that energy, but like that's not good. So we're gonna go ahead and shut that down, okay? We're not gonna let ISIS ship oil to us anymore. Like, you really think that kind of shit would fly? Like, no fucking way, dude. No fucking way, dude. I don't believe that that would ever happen. Syria has some of the best oil, not like Canada. Wait, why? Is Syria actually better than... Is there a difference in quality from oil? I don't understand. Or is that like a meme? We get the majority of our oil from Canada. The United States does, I think. Like, if terrorists from Saudi Arabia came to America and killed thousands of people, I'm sure we would. Except, don't we believe that, like, isn't there a lot of ties between the Saud people and the fucking 9/11 hijackers? Wasn't there like a lot of confirmed? I don't remember. I don't remember looking. Ties between Saudi Arabia and 9/11. 911truth.org. Fuck. I thought, wasn't there like a lot of connections that were drawn between the Saudi Arabia and like the whole 9/11 bullshit? About 7 of them were Saudis. Yeah. So clear. So no, don't, like, I know that you guys as like average citizens are fucking easy to jerk around because you listen to people like Trump like tell you things, but like in reality, at the end of the day, like it all comes down to fucking money and shit. Nobody gives a fuck about fucking terrorists and shit. That's just what they jerk you guys around with to vote for leaders or whatever. Like, all of this shit is about money and economics and like how you can like build your fucking shit up the most you can. Like, it has nothing to do with like these perceived like, I would like look at like how fucking shit works in China and stuff. Like, there's still a lot of old people that believe that like China is going to come back and try to, you know, like take over the United States with like ground wars and shit. But in reality, like China makes too much money fucking doing everything. Like, they're not going to fucking go to war with anybody. I think that all of this shit ties into like who's making money off of who and where does all the fucking money come from. And then, but the way that you market it to the public is like, oh guys, no dude, America, we got to stop terrorists and blah, blah, blah. But we're also allied with, you know, these, you know, crazy religious fanatics like the Aragorn or whatever the fuck that runs Turkey and the crazy fucking Saudi Arabian people. And there's also a lot of fucked up shit that goes on in fucking South America and Africa, but we don't make money from them, so we're gonna ignore all of that. And you know, like, I don't know, dude. I think all of this shit ties back to money for like most of the motivations for doing everything. I'm not sure if it is money or dependency. Honestly, Destiny, dependency has way more stretch. I'm talking shit than more or less than profit. Don't you think? Well, I mean, like, we like positions. Like, positioning is really important, right? We know that from League of Legends. Positioning is really important, so that's why we have allies. I think we have shit set up in Ukraine. Do we? I think we do. Maybe we don't. I don't remember. But like a lot of the jogging that we do in different positions, like I think like Russia wanted Crimea because Crimea is like a really lucrative position, and because a lot of the Crimean citizens, because of shit that happened a long time ago, identify as Russian and shit, even if they're not geographically connected. I know that Turkey is a really lucrative position to hold for like air bases and shit in relative to like what's going on with Russia and shit. A lot of the protection. We don't have anything in Ukraine? Oh, it's in Poland. My bad. Okay. We don't have shit in Ukraine. We probably don't have anything in any of these countries then, huh? Ukraine, Belarus. Is this even a real country? Does anybody ever talk? I've never heard this country mentioned, ever. I bet that this is just put on the map to fuck with me. I lived in Poland for 3 months, and I don't remember anybody there saying that they were fucking Bavarian. Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia. I'm guessing we don't have anything in any of these countries. The U.S. has Romanian stuff. Oh, that's over here, not directly connected. Lithuanian, Latvia, and Estonia are big NATO allies. Oh, well, fuck me. Who the fuck is in NATO? Let's see. NATO, an alliance from North America and Europe committed to fulfilling the goals of the North Atlantic Treaty. All right, well, let's fucking look. NATO on the map. I lived in Poland for 3 months because I was playing StarCraft and I went to a house. Welcome to NATO on the map. Explore this interactive map. NATO members. Oh. Holy fuck, dude. It's like fucking Eve. It's disgusting. So if you're a NATO member, is it assumed then that... Why is Norway the only NATO member? Why not Sweden or Finland? What's wrong with these cucks? If you're a NATO member then, is it assumed that like the United States is allowed to have air bases and shit in your country? Could we fucking invade Moscow from like Latvia and Estonia and shit? That would be fucking sick as fuck. Oh, Belarus is on this map too. It probably is a real country. Norway is pretty sick insofar as like natural resources go, right? I know that Norway isn't part of the EU, but they have a lot of special agreements that gives them access to the EU markets, even though they have to pay for it. And I think one of the reasons was because they had really lucrative natural resources. I thought I read, I don't know if that's actually true. I remember reading that in a couple different places, but it's Belarus. What is it, like fucking French? I'm sorry, Belarus. That actually sounds more familiar. Anyway, I think that a lot of the so a lot of the stuff that goes on here with NATO countries is, even though it looks like when you have Trump talking about like, oh, the United States gets fucked, you know, because all these NATO countries aren't chipping in. I think that a lot of these relationships are mutually beneficial, and that the United States provides security to some of these places. Because if you have a fucking U.S. embassy or U.S. base in your country, man, you've got some fucking shit, dude. Right? If you want to go and fuck with a country, you go and fuck with a country. Like, imagine you go to break into a house, right? You want to go break into a house, but like his next door neighbor is like fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? Like, you might think twice, like, fuck, dude, do I really want to fuck with this dude? I don't fucking know, man, because he's got some crazy fucking neighbor, right? So like, we provide protection for some of these countries, but we also get, I think, like positioning on Russia for like different air bases and different positions around the world. Like, these are relationships that America would never, ever, ever, we would never threaten, right? Which is kind of bizarre because Trump is very, very largely anti-NATO. Trump fucking hates NATO. He probably doesn't even know what the fuck NATO is. I don't even know, dude. I mean, to be fair, I didn't know hardly any of the NATO countries before right now, but that's the argument behind Article 5. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that a lot of the trading that we do here, conceptually, we trade a lot of defense for us to have lucrative positions in terms of air bases and missile installations and whatnot around the world as well. It also keeps those countries from turning to Russia. Oh yeah, that's true too. It's also like it's like a block. It's kind of like so the United States in some ways is kind of like Razer. You know how Razer sponsors a ton of streamers where they'll give you like headphones and shit to sponsor you. They're not actually sponsoring you because they give a fuck about you and they want to sponsor you. They're blocking other people from sponsoring you. If I quote unquote sponsor the streamer and I give him like a Razer, some kind of Razer gear every 6 months, well now he's got a Razer headset on. It's not so much that I'm sponsoring him, but I'm preventing somebody else from stepping in and sponsoring him. So like, I guess NATO is kind of similar to that too. Like, we don't really give a fuck about these countries necessarily, but because they're part of NATO, they can't join any kind of Russian bullshit. So we've kind of cock-blocked them from... I guess that kind of makes sense. Trump does not hate NATO. He hates the fact that each country is supposed to give 2%, but most European nations are doing nothing. He actually was articulate on this point. Really? So you don't think that Trump has given off the impression that he really, really, really doesn't like NATO?
NATO is obsolete.
You don't think that Trump has said things that...
Mr. Trump, thanks very much for joining us. Thank you. This is your first day in Washington in quite a while. I know there's a lot of focus today on foreign policy.
Either they pay up, including for past deficiencies, or they have to get out. And if it breaks up NATO, it breaks up NATO.
You don't think Trump has said things in the past that might make you think that maybe his stance on NATO is pretty fucking bad?
Let me ask you about U.S. participation in NATO. Do you think the United States needs to rethink U.S. involvement in NATO?
Yes, because it's costing us too much money.
I mean, I don't know, dude. Maybe my research is bad, but... Is there something fundamentally wrong with being anti-NATO? Probably, yeah. NATO is a very important... I mean... It undermines everything that... To say that we fuck NATO seems to undermine everything that the United States has done in terms of global security over the past fucking 30 or 40 years. I don't know. When the fuck was NATO even fucking founded? Holy shit! 1949. Fucking 49, mate. 60, 70, what is this, fucking 70 years old? To say, like, fuck NATO, is a strain on our relationship with all of these countries. I think that it shows kind of a misunderstanding of our relationship with these countries militarily. Like, again, we don't have bases in these countries because we're just nice guys and we want to protect these countries and we feel bad that they're not giving us money. We also get something out of it. Like, we like having these bases all over the world because there's a lot of options in terms of how we want to go and fucking depose a dictator or whatever the fuck America does to defend its interests abroad. NATO is probably the strongest military organization in the history of the world. Yeah, maybe. Russia still is in Europe proper called the Kaliningrad Oblast. I don't know anything about that, dude. Alright, I'll give up trying to defend my point. This is what you make me do, Destiny. Avoid discussing because senpai didn't know. Okay, Crimson Sun, what were you? Our current world is dependent on oil and FE. Russia and Saudi can pull shit on us like Crimea. The UN members don't have any dependency on North Korea. And look what an isolated shithole that has become. Since you said it's all about money, what are your thoughts? I don't even know what this sentence means. What? Can we just play some League of Legends? Having internationally founded army kind of undermines its defensive role, except for the fact that the world is like more peaceful now than it ever has been in the history of all of the fucking mankind. And I'm pretty sure the United States has played a big role in that. Not to say that the United States is good. We do a lot of fucked up, crazy, stupid fucking shit around the world. But as a whole, the world is better off right now than it was in the past because it responds not to people of the state, but to some other external force. It might be why Aragorn has this big of a military overthrow threat. I think Aragorn's problems with his military is that the way that it seems, first of all, the Turkish military apparently has like a fucking scheduled coup. They put the shit like on their calendars, like, all right, guys, you know what fucking next week is? It's time for the fucking coup. They've done this shit like 3 times in the past few decades, right? Where apparently what happens is they get a president, and the president becomes some crazy, like he's kind of crazy, but not super crazy. But then he gets more and more and more and more crazy, and then eventually, the military, the shogun steps in and they're like, yo, dude, you're being really fucking crazy. We need you to fucking calm that shit down. So they kind of, you know, they wrestle a little bit and then they all have a discussion. And then the Turkish leader, dude, will go back to being a little bit more secular. Like, that kind of seems like the relationship that the Turkish army has with the Turkish president, dude, I think. 1960, Turkish coup. 1971, Turkish military memorandum. 1980, Turkish coup d'etat. 1983, alleged Turkish military coup. 1999. So like this is like a reoccurring theme, right? This is like a 6-part movie where every fucking new movie is like another army that. So I don't think that the coup as of recently was like a huge deal.